Hello, everybody. Once again, thank you for joining today's webinar. The webinar is going to talk about the top features that we launched in Q4 of 2019. Q4 was a really interesting quarter for us, where we were able to build a lot of interesting and exciting features for our customers. And we have handpicked just 5 of them to bring out the highlighted ones so that it could benefit you the most. In this webinar, in the entire due course of this webinar, we have our product experts who will be here on chat available to respond to questions that you have. So feel free to raise your questions even as I talk through this webinar. And if there are questions that we're not able to answer due to time constraints, we can always take it up offline and follow it up through email. Great, so let's dive into the agenda for today's webinar. In the next 40 minutes, we are going to discuss the 5 highlighted features that we built in Q4 of 2019. I'll give you a couple of seconds to just read through the functionalities. We'll be explaining about each of this, how it will help you in your business, and we'll also give you a short demo of each of these functions so that you can go right back to your Freshservice account and try them out. The first one that I want to talk about is AskFreddie. A lot of you here today might know what Freddie is. For those who are not aware of what Freddie is our homegrown AI platform on which we have built several interesting functionalities. Some of them are Thank You Detector and Conversational Portal. If you want to know more about either Thank You Detector or Conversational Portal, please ping on the chat and we'll be happy to send some materials and videos. And this particular functionality, AskFreddie, was built because we were able to identify a pain point that was very common to almost all of our customers. And not only our customers, everybody who uses reports across the industry, with any tool for that matter. Building a report is not a simple task. It requires to apply several filters, to apply several criteria, groups, and so much. And you also need to know exactly which filter you need to apply to get a particular metric. Now, all this is going to overwhelm a person when you need to build, let's say, 10 reports at the end of a quarter to show the performance of your team, to show the performance of assets, and so on. To help our customers who are going through such challenges, we thought of building AskFreddie. And AskFreddie uses natural language processing to understand your question and then quickly build out a widget for you. You can just ask Freddie a question like how you would ask a friend. You can just type in your speaking way. I'll just take you to the product so that I can quickly show you how this works. You need to go to the analytics. And once you're in the analytics homepage, you'll be able to see the Ask Freddie for Insights at the top left corner. And here, you can just enter any question that you wanted to create a widget for. The most recently asked questions will be populated here, and the most common questions are given here so that you can just click them and get the answers. Now here, you can see that the question was typed in the manner where you would just ask in Google or to a friend. Show the tickets count by status. And Freddie has applied all the filters and groups required to fetch this particular data. And like any widget, you can also see the underlying data right here. And if you're curious to know what are these filters that Freddie applied to get this widget, you can see those right here at the top right corner. You have the configure button where you can see the metrics that were applied and also the groups by which this data was grouped. And you can go ahead and modify these metrics in groups if you want to have more granular data into this particular one. Now, this is how AskFreddie will help you. And now that you have the widget all you need to do to build an entire report is just add it to any existing report. We have all of the reports in your account populated in this dropdown right here. Now with that, let's go to the next functionality that I wanted to talk about. This is maintenance and blackout window. This again is a popular challenge amongst our customers, and again, not only our customers, but also for any change manager or any admin who is in charge of deploying these changes or planning for changes. Now, there are times when a particular change cannot be executed because of, let's say that there is a block or there is a important activity that's happening at a particular hour of a day or particular days of the week. Now, you don't want anybody deploying any change to any asset in your environment. You can do that. You can block that particular duration using blackout window so that whenever anybody in your organization tries to execute a change in that time period, there will be an error that says that this is a blackout window. Now that error is going to show how important it is for someone to not execute a change in that window. Now I have a small video clipping that will show you how this works. So the maintenance window is when you open the gates for changes to be executed or deployed. In contrast to that, a blackout window is when you do not want anyone to make the changes. So when somebody tries to do that, it is going to show an error. Now let me show you how you need to do this in your Freshservice account. In your instance, you have the calendar button right next to the search bar. In your calendar, you can go to the change calendar from the right. And here, you can schedule maintenance window or blackout window. For an example, I'm going to set up a blackout window. So this is a blackout window which will happen at the end of every month because the payroll services are going to be kept busy. And we do not want anybody changing anything with that, because if the payroll service is going to get affected, then the actual transmission of salary of employee salaries is going to get affected. Now I have scheduled the duration as the last 3 days of a month. And here, the blackout window has been successfully created. And when you go to the month view, you can see that the payroll time has been created. Now let's go and try to create a change for that time. Let me just add a new requester. I'm just creating a change with all the basic information that is needed. And I want to execute this change on 27th, let's say at 1 o'clock to, let's say, 3:30. So you can see that the change of the OS, changing the OS of the payroll service has to be done on 27th between 1 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. Now let's try to save this change. Here you can see that the blackout window has been configured earlier is throwing an error, which says that this change is overlapping with the blackout window. Now you can choose to cancel this so that you don't disrupt anything in the payroll service. Now this functionality comes extremely useful for an organization which has many admins and many change managers who have separate parts of the infrastructure to manage. So in situations like this where admins and change managers work in silos, it is extremely important to let everybody know that a particular time is blocked because nobody has to make any change in that particular time. So we have more functionalities like AskFreddie and maintenance in Blackout window. We have another presenter for today's webinar. We have Karthik Pasupati, who is going to talk about another couple of functionalities. Hey, Karthik.
Hey, Emma. Thanks for the introduction. Hey, guys. I'm going to talk about two important integrations that we've shipped during the last quarter of 2019. And the theme behind these two integrations is collaboration, but the angle is a little different. The Microsoft Teams integration, the first one that we're going to talk about, is where we bring in collaboration between teams. And the idea is how to take critical ticket related updates right into an agent's or an agent group's Microsoft Teams account. The second one is Freshservice integration, about which I'll be talking a little later, wherein we'll talk about how to bridge the gap between an IT team and a development team and how to give both of them better context using this integration. So first we'll dive into Microsoft Teams integrations. So I hope you already know that we have a Slack integration built, and Microsoft Teams is a fast growing business collaboration app. And a lot of our users have requested for a Microsoft Teams integration. And during the last quarter, we built that. We partnered with Microsoft and we were able to build it. The idea is we built a bot called Service Bot, which can be added to groups, agent groups, or agent can interact with the bot to get necessary information about tickets. So I'll just walk you through how it works. Before that, I'll show you how to install. The installation of the Microsoft Teams integration will happen in two parts. The first part is where you go to the app section under settings, and when you click on get more apps, Microsoft Teams, I'm just typing that in, and you get it. When you click on install, the app will get installed on your Freshservice account. On the other hand, you will also have to go to the app source, which is a Microsoft Teams app marketplace, and you should install the service bot so that it gets added to your Microsoft Teams account. So, and after that, what you'll have to do is, if you are an agent group, you'll have to add service bot to your group so that anyone from the group can invoke service bot, and they can give commands and they can perform certain actions. So let's go into the Teams account and let's see how the service bot works. You can call the service bot by mentioning it. Service bot, you can either click on this prompt that says what can I do, or you can type help, command help. That will give you list of commands and list of actions that you can perform. Just a minute. Yeah. So it usually takes a few seconds for it to fetch. So there's nothing to worry here. All right. So now you can see the list of commands that you can use. For example, when I am saying service bot, my tickets, and it will fetch the tickets that are assigned to you. If you are not a part of group and if you just want to interact with service bot, you can also do that. You can also interact like it's a personal chat, and you can also add in commands. And it'll give you the list of tickets. And once you click on the ticket, and here I'm clicking on a service request that is assigned to me. So once I click on the service request, it'll show me a high level overview of the details of that service request. For example, it will tell me the name and what the person has requested. For example, Kumara Raja has requested Adobe Photoshop CS6. And the priority, it will tell the status of the service request, and it will also show me a due by date. So I can get an overview, and also I'll be prompted to perform certain actions. If I want to perform a quick reply, I can send a quick reply right from here. And I also have the option to add a note. I can either add a private note or add a public note. That's also possible here. And if you want more context, if you want to see the conversations or maybe perform more actions with respect to the service request, you can click on the view in Freshservice option and you will be taken to your Freshservice account. The whole idea is to get agents maximum room for them to perform actions right from within their Microsoft Teams account without going to Freshservice. So this is more like bringing the IT service desk to the agents rather than making them go there. So that's the idea. Let us try another command, which is very interesting. It's called fetch tickets. Fetch tickets is an interesting command. I'll tell you what it does. It gives you the option to filter tickets and group tickets. So if you have a list of tickets, you can filter the tickets based on priority and based on status. This is very helpful here. Similar way, you can also try other commands and see how Microsoft Teams is useful for you. And now let's move on to the next integration, which is Freshservice integration. So Freshservice is our agile project management software. It's an agile project management offering from Freshworks. So the idea is you can manage software projects, you can run sprints, and you can keep track of bugs reported by your customers as well as employees. And there is also a beautiful Kanban board where you can manage all your projects. Now let's quickly go and see how Freshservice and Freshservice work together. And before going into that, let me give you a scenario where this actually plays out, where we thought out this will be really, really helpful. Imagine a large organization where a lot of the software applications that they use are built in-house based on their requirements. In that case, when something goes wrong with the application, the employee reports them to the IT team. If it's not a hardware related problem, or if it's something that's not under their purview, then in that case, the IT team will have to contact the relevant engineering team in order to solve this issue. But the problem is, in certain case, the IT team won't be able to provide or won't be able to get complete predictability on when a particular bug or issue will be fixed by the development team. And the development team, on the other hand, won't have enough context on what the employee had reported, the conversation that happened between the IT agent and the employee. So in that case, there is a level of gap wherein both the sides are not able to get complete context. So that's the reason we built this integration, so that both sides will get some level of context so that they can get better predictability and they can deliver the same, or they can convey the same to the employee. So let's see how this works. All right. Sorry, I did that by habit. Just a minute. So Freshservice is prominent here. So once you go to help desk productivity under settings, you can see Freshservice. Click on Freshservice. Now, the thing that you're seeing here is it's already integrated. I've already integrated my Freshservice account to a Freshservice account. But what happens otherwise is, when you come to the screen, you will be provided with two options. If you are someone who's not familiar with Freshservice, or if you want to give it a shot, you can click on the button Get Started, and you will be a trial account will be created for you, and you can try out the integration, and you can also try out Freshservice for 21 days. And if not, if you already are a Freshservice user, in that case, you can sign in and authenticate using your API key, which you can find under your account settings. So now we have already linked a Freshservice account here. So once that happens, all your projects, all the projects that you're managing in Freshservice will be fetched in here. So I've already added a project that you can see. Intranet site development is a project that I have in my Freshservice account, which I fetched here. And there are two tabs here, as you can see. One is the projects and another one is agents. And agents is where you add agents from Freshservice whom you think would be constantly collaborating with the development teams or the developers who are working in this particular project. For example, in this case, Alex, Samson, and Neharika are Freshservice agents who will be connecting with or collaborating with developers who are working in the project intranet site development. Now let's go back to the scenario that I presented to you a few minutes back, wherein an employee reports a critical bug in a payroll system. So the IT guy tries to figure out, and he finds out that this is something that needs to be solved by the development team that actually built the payroll system. So let's go to the tickets page, and I select this particular ticket. It's called bug in payroll system. So what you'll have to do is you will have to click on associate drop down and select fresh release item. So here you can choose the project. I'm choosing internet site development. Then I can say payroll system crashing. So what it does is, if you type and if the issue is already there in fresh release, then it shows you that, so that you can add this bug to that particular item. If not, you can create a new work item for the development team. And next is I'll have to choose the item type. I'm choosing bug here because it's a bug. Reporter is the agent who is actually creating the item, that is the IT agent. And assignee is the person whom the agent wants to notify. In that case, maybe if I'm an IT agent who wants to notify a particular developer, in that case I can mention the name here, or you can leave it blank. So right, I'm clicking on submit. So now when I go under associations, I'll be able to see that the item, the fresh release item, is already here. So if I click on this, I get to get an overview of the particular bug. And also if I click on this, it'll take me to the fresh release page. So if the developer adds some comments, or if he wants to convey a deadline, or if he asks for more information from the IT agent, all this can be viewed. The IT agent can view all this right from here. So he can also comment, he can also reply here. So this also brings a level of collaboration between both the teams. So that's pretty much it with fresh release integration. So it brings better collaboration and context and predictability among teams like IT teams and the engineering teams. And now let's go. Sorry about that. Now let's go to the next part, which is closure rules. And closure rules is where you can set conditions, certain conditions for your incident or service request to be closed or resolved. So whenever someone closes a ticket, as an admin, you can make sure that it should fulfill the following conditions, or else the ticket won't be closed or ticket won't be marked as resolved. So you can access this option from Help Desk Productivity, and it's called Ticket Closure Rules. Click on that, and you'll be able to see a range of conditions that you can set. For example, if I click on the option, all associated tasks should be completed, that means if I'm trying to close an incident, and if the associated tasks is not completed or is not fulfilled, then the ticket or the incident won't be closed. Similar way, you can set conditions when someone is trying to resolve a ticket, and you can also perform similar checks, or you can also set similar conditions for service requests. So this is pretty much simple with respect to ticket closure rules. Please play around with the feature and see how it is. And now we come to the next part, which is minor feature and enhancements. Apart from large releases, we have also launched few essential and really productive enhancements for Freshservice. And we have our next presenter, Neharika, with us, and she'll be talking about it all. So, yeah, over to you, Neharika.
Hi, everyone. So I will be taking you through the minor features and enhancements that we built over the last quarter. As minor as it might sound, they will definitely solve greater business problems for you. So take a few seconds to take a look at it. And yes, the first enhancement that we will be looking at is observer mode. So we are familiar with agent groups in a service desk. And this is where agents are grouped together based on functions or the departments they serve. But sometimes you might need passive agents in your group who just want to view the tickets, perform actions on the tickets, or even just get updates about the ticket's progress without getting tickets assigned to them. A typical use case would be, let's consider the IT team in your organization. Amidst the multiple IT requests that you're getting, a few might require inputs from a HR agent. So to avoid switching agents between groups, you could add an agent as an observer in a group. To do this, in your admin settings under user management, click on groups. And in the team that you want to add an observer, select edit and add an agent as an observer by selecting the observer radio button. So this will facilitate operational transparency between teams without actually needing to reassign tickets or agents between groups. So the next interesting enhancement that we're going to look at are lookup fields. There are forms all over the service desk. There can be multiple forms with multiple fields. And if they are going to be drop downs, they have to be periodically updated so that they don't get redundant over time. But what if you could reuse existing data sources within the service desk to feed it into the drop down fields in your service catalog forms? So to set up lookup fields, you go to service catalog under general settings. And in any item where you want to add a lookup field, select it, drag and drop a drop down field. And here you can choose if you want to select a data source. So lookup fields can be facilitated across locations, requesters, agents, and assets. So at any point of time, if you want to update this particular dropdown, all you have to do is update the single data source in its central location. So moving to the next enhancement, every organization has multiple communication channels through which you get tickets. For example, you might be getting tickets from a feedback widget, and you would want to capture this source in a custom source field. So to set this up, we have custom sources enabled in our form fields. So go to form fields under general settings. And in ticket fields, you can see you have the source field. And if you click on edit here, you can add as many sources as you want by clicking on add source. So the next enhancement is going to boost resolution rates for your agents. So if there's a high inflow of tickets, it's extremely crucial to pace up your resolution process by reusing certain artifacts like scenario automation, canned responses, etc. So if you have a set of actions grouped under a scenario automation, all you have to do is select the tickets for which you want to apply the scenario automation, click on more, and execute the scenario. So this will definitely boost resolution speeds for your agents. The final enhancement that we're going to look at are testing webhooks right within your workflow automator. Setting up large workflows is in itself complex, but when webhooks are involved, the chances of errors are higher. So what if you could test your webhooks right within your workflow automator? So here you can see in an automation that I've already created, I have used webhooks in the actions. So here, in the trigger webhook action, I can test the webhook right within the workflow automator. So it's hitting an error right now. So using these error codes, you can understand what is to be fixed and fix it right within the workflow automator. That's how much I have. Handing it over to Hema.
Hey, Niharika and Karthik. That was a really interesting presentation of the new features that we launched in Q4 of 2019. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Emma.
To all of you here who are here with us now, hope you found all of these functionalities very useful. We'll end this webinar now, but however, if you have any questions regarding anything in Freshservice, feel free to reply to the email that we send you. Thank you.